What is going on, guys? This is Princess All Gaming with my review of Tokyo Ghoul Episode 1. And this anime, I definitely had my eye on it. And after watching the first episode, I definitely knew that I would be reviewing this series. Because to me, this first episode, it was definitely impressive. Like, we got so many characters that are so different and they vary, so freaking much that I cannot wait to see where this series go with them. Because right now, I gotta say, Toka, she is definitely impressing me, and I do want to see more of her, especially, what she did at the end right there, because most people, they would just walk away, but she actually got pretty freaking aggressive, and she made our main character, Tanike, I believe that's his name. She actually, made him eat some human flesh because obviously he definitely did not want to do that at first because he was like rejecting that. But she pretty much made that choice for him. But the episode itself, it starts off and it seems like we're like in some helicopter and we're like flying over this city. But then we go to some woman and we see that she actually has blood covering, like some of her face. And then out of nowhere, we like focus on this aquarium, and we just see this another woman smack right into it. And I'm guessing, that right there will like probably make people jump. But to me, I kind of got a chuckle out of it. I don't know why, but I just did. But we see now that this woman that we first saw, with the blood on her, she's obviously eating these like piles of body around her. And even though, you like couldn't really, see most of it because it was dark, they did give us, some glimpse of it. But now we have this other guy. He is now coming in there, and it seems that he actually knows about this woman because apparently she's a binge eater. So when she eats, she definitely does it, in a large amount, which would definitely explain all those bodies we saw, around her. But this guy had came here to kill her, and we see that, when he actually goes to attack her, because we see like these red things. I believe they were like tails of some sort, but when we see them come out of his body, he actually, attacks the aquarium, and I believe that he did try to attack her, but she easily was able to escape. And we see now that she has like these red like whips, which she uses to lift herself up and cover great distances. Because now we saw her leave the area, and we see now that when she does escape, we cut to our main character, and his name is Tanike, and we also have his best friend Hide, and these two, they were like in this cafe, and apparently Tanike, there was like some girl, I believe it was like a girl that he had an eye for. I believe it was somebody that actually that had worked there. And so we have Hide here. He had called the girl over, and right away, things kind of went south because we saw, because of all the questions he was asking her, he definitely made her feel uncomfortable, and that right there made the girl run off. But at least we definitely know her name, and it is Toka. And so now we have this like extremely gorgeous woman. She's now coming in there, and immediately Tanike, he actually falls for her, and we see that when she actually takes a seat and she pulls out her book, it's the same one that he was reading. But right before that happened, we have Hide. He leaves for some reason, which I don't know why, but that was pretty weird. But he actually leaves. And we see that after he was gone, it seems that the woman and Tanike, they sat there and talked for a while because obviously they had the same taste in the book, so it made sense. And now we actually learn, thanks to a phone call between Tanike and Hide, it seems that he actually got a date with her, which we actually saw them go on. And so our first red flag here on their date, it was that they had both ordered, some food. And we see now that the woman, her name is Rize, I believe. That's how you say it. But Rize here, she had like this little sandwich, and she took like the smallest bite imaginable. And so obviously that right there is a red flag, because why would she take like such a small bite? Because that right there is kind of like pointless to do. But of course she had to keep up appearances, and so when when Kanite or Kaneki, that's it. When he actually, like, calls her out on it, she claimed to be on some diet, but she actually had to go to the bathroom. But after their date, of course, we see now that, or she tells him that, like, most of these attacks that are being caused by these ghouls, they are happening in an area that she lives in. And so right now we have her being so scared, and she pretty much acting like a damsel in distress, and that pretty much gave Kaneki, like that right there gives, like, Kaneki the idea, to walk her all the way to her home. And we see now that while they're walking, they once again pass by Toka, but of course Kaneki did not see her at first, but she definitely, like, saw Rize and him. And so eventually, like, when they're alone in, like, this construction area, we see now, like, her true colors. Because at first, she was acting so nice and sweet, saying that she actually noticed him and she was interested in him, but it because she had wanted to, so she can actually eat him, because we saw her eyes turn black and her irises, they were like glowing red. And eventually, she, like, took a bite, and you just see all this blood, like, gushing out, and it got all over, their bags. So eventually, like, we see her, like, summoning, like, these red, like, tentacles out of her back, pretty much like Doc Ock from Spider-Man. And we see that, she can use them pretty effectively, because we saw when Kaneki tried to run away, we have her wrapping one of them around his legs and pulling him back, and just out of nowhere she, like, tossed him like a freaking rag doll. And at one point, like, while she was, like, torturing him, we saw her piercing, his like, stomach region, and that right there, was, like, pretty freaking crazy. So obviously, he was, like, so close to dying. But we see that, like, thanks to her destruction, she pretty much, caused her own death, because we just see all this equipment, started breaking, and eventually all this metal, rained down on her, and that actually, killed her. And so now we have Kaneki. We see now that right now in his subconscious, he now thinking about what's going on, because we saw him, like swimming in a bottle of water. And so eventually we have Rize. She is now, like, swimming up behind him, and you just see, like, all this darkness coming up behind her as well. And so eventually now you would think that he would die from this, but the doctors, they have pulled probably one of the most cooler things you can do. They actually took the organs of a ghoul and put it inside his body, because we saw that when he first came to, one of his eyes were black, and the iris, it was, like, red, and you also saw, like, the skin around it was also, cracking and kind of breaking. And so now I'm guessing, some time has probably passed, because we see that it seems that right now he is out of the critical area of a hospital, and it seems to be, like, in a normal room. And his face is definitely looking, a lot better. And we actually see that when he tries to eat, he takes a little bit of the fish he was eating, and when he tried to taste it, it was, like, definitely, nasty to him. So he hardly touched his food. And right now, when he told the doctor about that, he was just saying that it was a psychological thing, which is, like, definitely a lie, obviously, because we all know what's really going on with him. And so eventually he does get discharged, and he goes home to where his friend, Hide, he left him a ton of food to eat, and he even got him some of his favorites, which was definitely nice. And now when he goes inside, he is now watching this like some kind of broadcast where they're talking to a doctor, and we see now that this doctor, he definitely confirms, like, his worst fear, because he said that ghouls, their tongues are different. They can't eat regular people food, and when they do, it tastes extremely disgusting to them. And that right there, like, kind of, like, puts him over the edge. And we see that he actually started eating everything that Hide had bought him. and we see that when he did, he had to run to the bathroom because he kept vomiting, and so eventually he kept doing that and doing that. And that right there, like eventually, like pushed him over to the edge, and he became somewhat of a shut-in. And now we have Hide trying to, contact him over and over because I'm pretty sure, Hide does want to see him. And eventually, at one point, when Hide does call, and Tanaki won't answer, we see that Hide was like with somebody, and this guy was definitely someone that appeared, later on in the episode. But right now, like when Hide tells him how Kanagi has been acting, we have our mysterious guy here. At least back then, he was saying that he probably would have cut ties with somebody that has been that rude, but because Kanite and Hide, like go so far back, that right there, it's not enough to drive them apart. But now we have Hide telling Kanike about this like author. I do believe it was the author of the book that had first brought him and Rize together. He actually had a signing, a book signing, but when Kaneki had went there, it was over, and so now we have him, like walking the streets, and eventually, walking like crossing the street, you should have all of these people, like walking by him, and that right there, definitely alert his senses because he's smelling all this flesh from women, children, kids, and it also, it just smells so good to him that those urges that he tried to suppress it. But we see that it's almost too much, and now we have him biting down on his finger. And I'm gonna be honest here, I'm surprised that he bites so hard into his finger that broke his skin, because it clearly looked like it should have. But now that he almost lost it, he actually runs home, and we see now that when he looks to the mirror, we see that one of his eyes are definitely transformed. And now, while I stare at his own reflection, we see Rize in the background. And now that he punches, the mirror to break it, he finally recalls what happened. And now we hear the doctors talking about take her organs and put them inside him. And we actually learned that the ghouls, they are somewhat indestructible, because regular blazing metals, they don't work on them, as we saw that when he tried to impale himself with a knife, it just broke. So obviously that right there, it just won't work. But now we have him, walking around, and we see that the urges are definitely strong, because we saw, that Ghoul side, it was definitely, like a lot stronger, and he even got the thought to kill somebody and eat their flesh, and eventually, he had picked up on the very, on the very good smelly scent, and it actually smelled like a mother's cooking. And we see now that when he does run to the source, to the source of it, we see now that it's this other ghoul already eating on a person, and that right there, was pretty freaking crazy. But now we have this one ghoul, I believe the name was Kazuo. We have him now actually communicating. So it seems that that ghouls will not attack other ghouls, on normal occasions. But when that guy offered him, a little bit of the person he was eating, we just have this other guy coming in there, kicking him in the head and killing him. And that right there, it was pretty freaking awesome. And so now we have this other guy. I definitely believe, or actually I know, because it was obvious, from the look of it, because even though we did not see his full face, you could definitely, piece it together. And so this guy, I believe his name was Nishiki. Apparently, he is the one that will not take over this territory because Rize is dead. And now he thinks that the Kaneki is now a threat to him, because he came into his territory, and now we have him choking Kaneki out. And of course, Kaneki was saying that he had just came here, and this guy asked him a question, that was hilarious, asking him if he saw his girl, laying there naked, and another guy was there with his pants down. What he believed that guy when he said that, like he just came there, he was doing nothing. So obviously, like that question right there was for completely different, situations, but it was definitely, hilarious. But now we have Toka, who appears out of nowhere, and we actually learned that she's also a ghoul, and it seems that she's part of, like some group. Now I definitely forgot his name, but I do know that this group, it will like play some major role down the line. So I would definitely, learn the name of it then. But now we have Nishiki. Apparently, like this guy was pretty weak, especially compared to Toka, because we see that when they exchange hits, at first he just had like this little cut on his face, and then just out of nowhere he had all these cuts on his body, and that right there was impressive. Like I said at the beginning, Toka is definitely impressing me, but now he like runs off because obviously he is no match for her. But now we have Toka, who looks at Kaneki, and it seems that she finally recognized him, and she was definitely wondering why was only one of his eyes like changed, because obviously both of them should be. And we see now that when she actually takes the arm, I believe it was of the human. When she takes that off and she offers it to Kaneki, you should see that he is struggling so hard, because right now he claims to be human, but if he actually eats that, then he knows for sure he's a ghoul, and there's no way that he's a human anymore. So I definitely feel bad for the guy, but like I said, Toki here made the choice, and she actually forced him to eat it, and that right there is where the episode ends. So I would love to see what happens after he eats the flesh, because it seems something major might go down, considering that he's only half ghoul and half human. But like I said, like this series, after I watched the first episode, I had to freaking watch it. So for first impressions, I definitely want to give it like probably a 9.5 out of 10. I know that right there might be high, but like I said, this for episode, I definitely enjoyed it a lot. But of course, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this, and I also want to know if you think that I should keep on reviewing this series. But as always, please do not forget to like the video and subscribe, because that really helps me out. And you guys take it easy, and I will see you all next time.